Anita wiped the sweat from her forehead as she arranged the glasses behind the bar. The hotel in Lekki was busy, full of people laughing and chatting. Anita's mind was not on the work. She dreamed of wealth, fame, and a life far from this small job. Her friend Precious watched quietly, folding napkins. She was calm and careful, always thinking before acting. During work, Anita would move from table to table, her eyes scanning the customers. "Oga, hope you are enjoying your time here. Anything for the girls?" she would ask with a playful smile. Sometimes they tipped her a little. Other times, the tips were bigger than her monthly salary. Anita loved every moment of it. Precious shook her head and teased her. "Anita, hope these things you are doing do not get you into trouble one day." Anita laughed, leaning casually on the bar. "See you. Do you think success waits for anybody? Sometimes you have to grab your chance, Precious." The night went on. Customers came and went, some tipping small, others tipping more. Anita's charm earned her extra coins. Precious watched quietly, a little worried. She hoped that Anita's boldness would not lead her into danger. It was late evening when Anita and Precious finally left work. The streets of Lekki were busy, the sun already gone, and the city lights glowing. Anita wiped her forehead, sighing heavily. "How I wish someone could just drive us home," she said, looking tired and stressed. A few minutes later, a sleek black car slowed down beside them. A man leaned out the window and called, "Anita, do you need a ride?" Anita's eyes widened. It was Tony, tall, dark, and handsome. He was known to everyone in Lagos. He owned one of the biggest hotels in the city and drove the latest cars. People often wondered how he made his money, some saying it came from shady businesses. Without thinking, Anita smiled and said, yes, sir. You are heaven sent." She jumped into the car as if her prayers had been answered. Precious stepped back, shocked and worried. "No, thank you. I'll get another ride," she said softly. Anita rolled her eyes, laughing lightly. "Okay, Madam Jesus, suit yourself. See you at home." Precious watched her friend drive away, a cold feeling in her stomach. This thing Anita is doing," she whispered to herself, "I hope it does not backfire." Precious walked briskly down the quiet Lekki street, tired from the long day at work, hoping Anita would already be home. She reached the front door of the apartment and tried to open it, but the key wasn't in her hand. "It's not here, she must have taken it," Precious muttered, frustration tightening her chest. She knocked lightly on the door, her fingers tapping nervously against the wood. She should have been home by now. Even the Kiki rider drove so slowly. Why hasn't she arrived? She stepped back and leaned against the wall, pacing slightly, her mind spinning with worry. Anxiety crept in. After a long day at work, all she wanted was to rest, yet now she was left standing outside, unsure what to do. Finally, Precious pulled out her phone and dialed Anita's number. No answer. She tried again, but it went straight to voicemail each time. Over the next hour, her worry grew heavier, twisting into fear. Feeling desperate, she called a neighbor for help. She explained the situation, her voice tight with concern. The neighbor listened carefully and smiled warmly. "It's okay, come spend the night here," they said. Precious felt a small relief, grateful for someone to talk to while waiting for news. Even as she walked away from the locked door toward her neighbors, her mind raced. Something about the evening felt wrong. Anita's absence was unusual, and Precious could not shake the feeling that something dangerous was unfolding. The next morning, Precious was still sleepy when she heard a loud knock on the gate. She rubbed her eyes and went to open the door. To her shock, it was Anita. Her hair was wet, her clothes messy, and she looked unsteady. "Anita! Are you mad?" Precious shouted. "I called your number all night and you didn't pick up. Did you not know the key was with you?" Anita tried to explain, but before she could speak, she stumbled and fell forward, almost collapsing on Precious. Precious quickly caught her but was angry. She helped Anita inside and guided her to the floor, placing a pillow under her head. I do not even want to hear what happened, Precious said firmly. Just promise me this won't happen again, and give me a spare key so I won't be stuck like this next time. Anita lay there, quiet and drunk, smiling faintly. Precious shook her head, frustration mixed with worry. Something about that night felt off. She could not shake the feeling that Anita had gone too far this time, and that danger might be closer than they realized. When Anita finally woke up, her eyes sparkled with excitement. Babe, you should have come with me last night, she said, giggling. Tony's party was amazing. The cars, the money flying in the air, you won't believe it. Precious sat on the edge of the bed, still tired and worried. Anita, what exactly did you do? She asked cautiously. Anita waved her hand dismissively. Nothing bad, babe. I just stayed around the rich people. You know how it is. And guess how much I earned just from being there? Over 250,000. Her voice was full of pride and excitement. I'm thinking of resigning from our hotel job today, she added. Precious's eyes widened. Resign? But why? What about your work? Anita smiled and leaned closer. Tony offered me a job at his hotel, as one of the supervisors. The pay is over 350,000. He even promised to consider hiring you too, Precious. Don't worry, I'll look out for you. This is our chance for a better life. The next morning, Anita left for her first day at Tony's hotel. She was dressed neatly, her hair perfectly done, and her eyes shining with excitement. Precious watched her go, a mix of happiness and worry in her heart. She wanted to be happy for her friend, but something about Tony felt strange. The hotel was huge, more luxurious than anything Anita had ever seen. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceilings, marble floors reflected the sunlight, and staff bustled about, carrying trays and cleaning tables. Tony greeted Anita with a warm smile. Welcome to my hotel. I'm glad you accepted the offer, he said smoothly. Anita felt proud. She knew she had made the right choice. She met the staff, learned her responsibilities, and even got a glimpse of the money she could make. Everything seemed perfect. Tony's attention made her feel important and powerful, and for the first time, she thought her dreams were coming true. Meanwhile, Precious stayed home, uneasy. She tried to call Anita during the day, but Tony's secretary answered each time. She is busy, Ma. I'll tell her you called, the voice said. Precious frowned. Something about the way they spoke gave her a chill. That night, when Anita returned home, she spoke about the party and the hotel with excitement, but Precious noticed something odd. Her friend's eyes seemed tired, her skin pale, and she smelled faintly of alcohol and something else, something she couldn't identify. Precious felt a shiver down her spine. She whispered to herself, I hope I'm just imagining things. I hope she's safe. What Precious didn't know was that Anita had not told her the whole truth. She never knew that Anita had agreed to a dangerous life. That night, when Tony offered her a ride home, everything changed. Tony had been coming to the hotel for weeks, observing both Anita and Precious. He had noticed Anita's boldness and confidence and had been waiting for the right moment to talk to her. When Tony's sleek black car pulled up, he smiled and called, Anita, need a ride? Anita's heart skipped a beat. She looked at Precious, who shook her head, declining. Anita jumped into the car without hesitation, excitement mixing with curiosity. The leather seats felt smooth under her, and the car moved quietly through the dark streets. I'm Tony, he said, turning to her. I have been watching you at the hotel. You are bold, confident, exactly what I need. You would do well with my team. Anita blinked, surprised but intrigued. Your team, she asked. Tony nodded. Yes. Come with me tonight. I will show you. Inside a private building, Anita noticed two girls. They looked strange, pale, and jittery, like they had been using drugs. Her heart beat faster. Tony explained, this is part of the work. You will help move certain items to our clients, keep them hidden, and make sure nothing goes wrong. It is dangerous, but the rewards are high. Do you think you can do it? Anita thought of the money, the freedom, the chance to live her old life. She swallowed hard and said, yes, sir. I can do it. By the time the car drove back, Anita's mind was racing. Precious had no idea what had just happened, why her friend had stayed late, or what kind of life Anita had agreed to. To anyone else, it looked like a simple ride home, a fun new job. But Anita had stepped into a dangerous world, one that would change everything for both of them. The next morning, Anita woke up feeling excited and nervous at the same time. She remembered the night with Tony, the car ride, and the girls she had seen. Her heart still raced at the thought of what she had agreed to. Precious was in the kitchen, making breakfast, unaware of anything that had happened. At the hotel, Tony's associates guided Anita through her first tasks. She was shown how to hide items, deliver them to clients, and move carefully so no one would suspect anything. The two girls she had seen the night before watched her closely, correcting her whenever she made a small mistake. Anita felt nervous but also powerful. For the first time, she felt she was trusted and important. While working, she noticed how carefully Tony's team moved. Every action was calculated. Every delivery was precise. The danger made her heart pound, but it also made her feel alive. She kept thinking about the money she would earn. It was more than she had ever imagined. That evening, when Anita returned home, she was quiet but smiling. Precious noticed immediately. Babe, you are acting strange. Did something happen today? She asked. Anita shook her head, trying to hide the truth. Nothing special, just tired, she replied. Precious did not press further, but a small worry grew inside her. Anita lay in bed that night, her thoughts restless. She had crossed a line. She was now part of Tony's dangerous world. But she could not stop thinking about the freedom and money it would bring. Precious still had no idea how much her best friend had risked, and what awaited them both in the days to come. The next morning, Anita left with Tony's team for her first real job. Her heart was racing as she got into the car, the items carefully hidden in her bag. She tried to calm herself, thinking of the money and freedom this would bring. The two girls who worked with her watched every move, their eyes sharp and serious. As they drove through the city, Anita felt the tension rise. She knew the work was dangerous, but nothing could prepare her for the moment a police checkpoint appeared ahead. The officers waved the car down, and the driver slowed, pretending nothing was wrong. Anita's hands trembled as they rolled down the windows and answered the questions calmly. Every second felt like an hour. Luck was on their side. Tony's driver had a way with words, speaking smoothly and keeping the police distracted just enough. The officers let them go. Anita exhaled slowly, feeling her legs weaken. She had made it. The fear and adrenaline mixed with relief, and she knew she had survived her first real test. They arrived at the delivery point, a quiet building tucked away from the main road. Anita handed over the items carefully, following the instructions she had been taught. When the client received everything and confirmed the delivery, she was handed a large envelope full of money. Her heart leapt. She had done it, her first job, and it had paid off. That evening, Anita returned home carrying bags full of gifts, treats, and little surprises for Precious. Babe, look at all this, she said, laying everything on the table. Precious's eyes widened at the sight, but her mind was uneasy. Something about the excitement and the sudden wealth made her suspicious. Where exactly did this come from? She asked cautiously. Anita smiled, hiding the truth. Just walk, babe. You'll see soon. Precious nodded slowly, still unsure, her worry growing with every passing day. After her first successful delivery, Anita's mind was restless. The money, the gifts, the freedom, it all made her feel powerful. She began thinking about how she could make even more, maybe even start selling for herself. The idea scared her a little, but the thrill of having control and wealth was stronger. Precious noticed the change immediately. Anita, she said one evening, frowning, you have been coming home with so much money and all these gifts. How are you getting it? Are you involved in any shady business? Her voice was soft but serious, full of worry. Anita laughed lightly, brushing off the question. Precious, you worry too much. It's just work, babe. You'll see soon. Everything is fine. But inside, she felt a rush. Precious's suspicion only made her feel more excited about the power she was gaining. A few days later, Anita surprised Precious by taking her to see her new car. Look at this, she said proudly, opening the door and letting Precious peer inside. The car was shiny and expensive, a symbol of everything she now had. Precious smiled politely, but her mind was uneasy. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, that the money and the new lifestyle might come with a price. That night, as Anita bragged quietly to herself about what she could do next, Precious lay awake, thinking. She loved her friend, but the greed and secrecy growing around Anita made her fear the worst. She didn't know yet how deep Anita had gone or what danger was slowly closing in on both of them. Anita's birthday finally arrived, and she decided to celebrate in style. She booked an expensive hotel and invited Tony along with his associates. The decorations were beautiful, the lights soft, and the music loud. Anita was the center of attention, laughing and smiling, proud of her new life. Precious came along, but she felt uneasy. Something about the celebration did not sit right with her. Precious watched as Anita got up and went to welcome Tony and his associates. She observed quietly, thinking, how does this girl know people of this caliber? Anita shook hands, smiled warmly, and exchanged a few words with everyone like they had known each other for years. When she returned to Precious, she beamed. Babe, these are my people, she said with a proud smile. Precious raised her eyebrows, curious and slightly uneasy. Anita introduced Precious to Tony and the associates. Tony extended his hand to Precious. Oh, so you are Anita's friend, he said smoothly. Precious shook his hand, a little nervous. Yes. I'm Precious, she replied cautiously. Tony smiled. I've heard a lot about you. It's nice to finally meet you. Anita speaks very highly of you. Precious nodded, still suspicious, but she forced a polite smile. Later, Tony suggested moving to a private area of the hotel. Precious hesitated, her instincts warning her. She tried to follow, but the security blocked her. Sorry, Ma, only invited guests can go in, a guard said firmly. Precious's worry turned into determination. She needed to know what was happening. Thinking quickly, she pretended to deliver a gift for Anita. The guards let her pass. Inside, Precious froze. Anita and everyone were using drugs. The girls looked strange, pale, and jittery. Anita sat in the middle, almost lifeless. Precious called her name, Anita. What's going on? Anita stirred slightly and, in a faint, eerie voice, asked, do you want some too? Precious felt her heart sink. She shook her head, stepping back. No. Anita, come with me. Let's go home. But Anita's eyes were distant. She giggled weakly and whispered, it's fun, Precious, you see, don't be shy. Precious's stomach twisted in fear. She tried grabbing Anita's hand, but Anita pulled away gently, smiling eerily. Precious noticed how pale and strange her friend looked. Her bold, confident friend was now almost unrecognizable. Precious realized that Anita had gone too deep, too far into Tony's world. The party around them continued, but Precious felt alone, trapped in a room of shadows and secrets. She knew in that moment that nothing would ever be the same between them. Anita finally arrived home, dragging her feet and still smelling faintly of alcohol and smoke. Precious was sitting on the couch, arms crossed, her face tight with worry. The moment the door closed, Precious stood up, her voice shaking with anger. "Anita! Where have you been? I've been calling you all night." Anita shrugged, tossing her bag aside. "Babe, calm down. I told you I was at a party." "Nothing to worry about," she said, smiling faintly, though her eyes flickered nervously. Precious's eyes narrowed. "Nothing to worry about?" "Anita, I saw what was happening. I saw you with those people, using drugs. How could you do this to yourself?" Anita laughed, bitter and sharp. "Precious, stop acting like you know everything. I'm grown. I can make my own decisions. I'm the one bringing money, gifts, and a life we could never have before. Do you think I care what you saw?" Precious took a step closer, her hands trembling. "Anita, this isn't just about money. I'm worried about you. You're changing. You're not the same person I grew up with. You're lying to me, hiding things, and risking everything for this Tony and his word." Anita's voice rose, almost shouting. "I'm tired of your lectures. You don't understand. You don't know what it's like to feel trapped in that hotel job, working for nothing while people like Tony pay real money. I'm doing this for us, for our future. You just sit there judging me." Precious's eyes filled with tears, but her voice was steady. "Anita, I care about you, but I can't watch you destroy yourself. I can't be part of this anymore. You've chosen your path, and I can't follow you down it." Anita shook her head, laughing bitterly. "Follow me. Precious, this is my life now. You want to stay behind, that's your choice. But don't act like you're my moral compass." She turned away, picking up her bag and moving toward the door. "I can't be held back by your fear. If you want to stay in your little safe world, fine. I'm leaving." Precious stood frozen, her chest tight with pain. "Anita, please, don't do this. Don't push me away," she whispered, but Anita only shook her head and walked out, slamming the door behind her. The room went silent. Precious sank to the couch, her heart heavy, tears streaming down her face. She realized in that moment that their friendship had split in two, one side still tethered to innocence and caution, and the other hurtling toward danger and darkness. Anita joined the team early that evening for another delivery. Even as she entered the car, she felt uneasy. Something in her chest was tight. She tried to shake it off, but the night was too quiet, too still. Amos, the guy assigned to go with her, noticed her silence. "You dey come today," he said lightly. "Relax. This job no be new." But Anita kept glancing at the side mirror. She didn't like the feeling in her stomach. "Amos, something isn't right," she whispered. Amos laughed softly. "You worry too much. We will drop the goods and go back." As they drove further from Lekki, the roads grew emptier. Then Anita saw it clearly, a dark SUV following too close. Her breath caught. "Amos, check that car behind," she said. Before Amos could turn, two more cars rushed out and blocked them. "Hold on!" Amos shouted, but immediately, a loud crash hit their side. Their car spun and slammed to a stop. Masked men rushed them, breaking the windows and dragging them out violently. Anita screamed as guns were pointed at them. Before she could breathe, they were shoved into another vehicle and blindfolded. The drive felt endless. When the blindfold came off, they were inside a warehouse, wide, cold, and filled with armed men. Oil smell, metal smell, the smell of danger. Amos was already bleeding from his forehead after being hit earlier. A man stepped forward, the rival gang leader. Tall, cold eyes, a deep voice that carried power. He folded his arms. "So these are Tony's runners," he said slowly, studying them like animals in a cage. "You think you can enter this city and move freely?" Before Anita could speak, the men dragged Amos forward and started beating him. Anita screamed, begging them to stop, but no one listened. Amos tried to fight back, but they hit him again and again. "Please," Anita cried. "He didn't do anything." The rival leader lifted his hand, and the beating stopped. For a second Anita thought he had mercy, until he pulled out a gun. The shot echoed through the warehouse. Amos fell, lifeless. Anita dropped to her knees, shaking, tears rolling down her face. Her body felt like ice. She couldn't move. She couldn't think. The rival leader walked toward her slowly. "You will now work for us," he said softly, but with deadly force. "You will give us information about Tony. You will help us break his business. If you refuse," he pointed at Amos's body, "you will end like him." Anita nodded quickly, unable to speak. Fear held her voice hostage. Hours later, they dumped her near the road, bruised and trembling. She walked home with weak legs, shock filling her chest. Everything was now different. She was trapped in something she could never escape. The morning was quiet when Precious heard a knock on the door. She wasn't expecting anyone, so she walked slowly to the entrance. When she opened it, she froze for a moment. Standing outside was Anita's mother, carrying a small handbag and looking tired from the journey. Precious quickly forced a smile and welcomed her in. "Mama, good afternoon." "You didn't tell me you were coming," Precious said softly as she helped her sit down. "I just had to come," Anita's mother replied. Her voice was calm, but Precious could hear the worry hiding inside. Precious rushed to the kitchen, brought water and small snacks, and placed them in front of her. "Mama, hope your journey wasn't too stressful." Anita's mother sighed heavily. "Precious, I've been feeling strange about Anita. Something is not right. All of a sudden she started sending me big money. Money too heavy for the kind of job she told me she's doing." She paused and looked around the room, her face filled with concern. She said she is now a supervisor in one big hotel. She even continued the work on the family house. "Precious, I don't understand. Where is she getting all this money?" Precious lowered her eyes. Her heart was beating fast. She had been keeping everything inside for too long, and now the truth was sitting right in front of her. Anita's mother touched her hand gently. "My daughter, talk to me. Where is Anita? And what exactly is she doing?" That was when Precious broke. She took a deep breath and slowly explained everything: the new lifestyle, the secret jobs, the late nights, the strange friends, the arguments, the drugs she saw, and finally the night Anita stormed out and moved away without saying where she was going. "Mama, she got her own apartment somewhere. Since that day, I don't know where she is. She blocked me. She doesn't call. She doesn't text." Anita's mother's eyes filled with tears. She pressed her chest with her hand. "Jesus! Anita, oh! My child, what has she entered?" She shook her head slowly, fear filling her entire face. "I knew it. I knew something was wrong. My daughter cannot just wake up and have money like water." Precious moved closer and held her. "Mama, I've tried. But she didn't listen. I'm also scared. I don't know the kind of things she has gotten herself into." Anita's mother sat quietly for some minutes, wiping her tears. Then she whispered, "I must find her. I cannot lose my child." Her voice broke as she spoke the last words, and Precious felt her own heart sink deeper. For the first time, Precious realized that whatever Anita was involved in, it was bigger than both of them. Anita stood outside Tony's office door for a long time before knocking. Her hands were shaking, and her heart felt heavy. She had not seen him since the night of the attack. She didn't even know how to start or what to say. But she knew she had to tell him something before the rival gang struck again. When Tony opened the door and saw her, his face changed immediately. Shock. Then anger. Then worry. Anita. Where have you been? I've been trying to reach you, he said, holding her shoulders. She tried to smile, but tears filled her eyes instead. Tony led her inside and shut the door gently. Anita sat down and took a deep breath. Tony, something happened. Something very bad. Her voice cracked as she looked at the floor. Tony sat beside her quickly. Talk to me. What happened? So she began her story, but only half of it. She told him about the delivery. She told him about the strange car following them. She told him how they were ambushed. She told him about being blindfolded and taken to a warehouse. And she told him about Amos being beaten and killed right in front of her. But the part she didn't say. The part where the rival leader threatened her. The part where she agreed to spy on Tony and help destroy his business. That part remained buried in her chest. Tony listened closely, his jaw tightening with every word. When she finished, Anita started crying again, covering her face with her hands. Tony, I was so scared. I thought I wouldn't make it back. Without thinking, Tony pulled her into a tight hug. It's okay. You're safe now, he said quietly. His voice was warm, calm, steady, the opposite of the fear inside her. He held her like she was something precious. Nobody will touch you again. Not while I'm here. Anita rested her head on his shoulder, her tears soaking his shirt. For a moment, she felt protected. But deep inside her heart, fear twisted like a knife. Because she knew the truth he didn't know. She was now a danger sitting right next to him. And she didn't know how long she could hide it. When Anita finished explaining everything that happened, Tony stared at her for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Then he asked quietly, Anita, did you give them anything about me? About the business? Her chest tightened, but she kept her face still. No, she replied calmly. I didn't say anything. Tony nodded slowly. Good. You're safe. I'll handle the rest. Go home, rest. He hugged her briefly, the kind of hug meant to reassure her, but the moment she stepped outside, her stomach twisted with heaviness. Her driver took her through the quiet Lekki streets until they arrived at the large, expensive house she had gotten recently. The moment she walked in, silence hit her like a wall. Expensive furniture, polished tiles, chandeliers, everything looked perfect, but the place felt painfully empty. She closed the door behind her and leaned on it, letting out a shaky breath. As she slowly walked to the living room, memories of Precious flashed through her mind without warning, waking up early beside her, laughing over cheap food, sharing clothes, praying together even when Anita pretended not to care. She remembered how they used to sit on the old mattress on the floor, talking about their dreams, how Precious always warned her that this life would destroy everything. For the first time in a long while, tears slid down Anita's face, falling quietly onto her hands as she sat on the edge of the couch. She whispered to the empty air, I should have listened to her. Guilt and nostalgia clawed at her. The memory of Amos being killed haunted her. The threats from the rival gang replayed in her head. She could still feel the fear, the ropes, the blows, the coldness in their voices. A small, aching part of her wanted to run back to Precious, beg for forgiveness, start over. But she wiped her tears harshly and forced herself to sit upright. No, she muttered to herself. I can't turn back now. I chose this. I swore to this life. I have to keep going. Later, she went upstairs to her room, opened her drawer, and took out a blank sheet of paper. She sat at her dressing table, staring at it for a long time before she finally began to write. Her handwriting was shaky, emotional, full of everything she was too afraid to say out loud. When she was done, she folded the paper, placed it gently inside an envelope, and hid it deep inside her jewelry box, sliding it under the lining. Then she closed the box slowly, letting out a long breath as the room fell back into silence, heavy enough to swallow her whole.